on sports!
All right, young men, it's time for show number 2. Canton has made it very clear who I should be rooting for in the G League game. I challenged them before our first episode, and they've made a statement. So, we're going to root for the Canton Charge tonight. But I'm here tonight with Gary Cheez-It Kin.
Cheez-It.
Chris.
That's not a wrestling nickname, though.
No. We're off the board. We're going with Chris Ho-Ho Fletcher.
I don't even
You don't like those.
And I'll be Dave Ding Dong Finoli.
1970s Valley business we're in here, I see.
Yeah, it's never good to come to these shows when you're hungry. I'll just say that.
Indeed.
Oh, man. Well, our boys, I wear the Slippery Rock hat tonight, honoring an exciting PSAC championship victory over Kutztown 37-35, which was celebrated on the big board at Michigan.
I saw that
quite extensively.
That's great.
That was kind of one of the neat things when we went up there. I had always heard about that, thought that was a long gone tradition, but one of the first things they did on the big scoreboard was bring up the Slippery Rock score.
Goes to Keith Jackson, ABC College Football.
I remember those. Yeah,
absolutely. But the dear Slippery Rock, and I still have no idea what their nickname is. I don't know that they do. Used to be the Rockets, but it conflicted with the high school team. Then they they were calling themselves the Pride, and after Lions for some reason, and then I guess that didn't take. So I think you're right. It might be the Slippery Rock, but I'm not sure. They never utilize a nickname in any. You're
right. You're right. I never thought about that, but you're right.
But they are the number 1 seed in this region, and hopefully they make a nice little run to a national championship, or an NC as we call it. Now, Slippery Rock used to have a team called the Sliders that played there. It was a minor league team.
I see a transition.
Was that good?
It was very nice, yes.
Yes.
Well, it was really a summer college wooden bat league, but okay. All right. And it wasn't university-based. But
No.
You had brought up a point that our dear buddy, maybe we'll have him on, the dear Manfred, who I claim to be the worst.
I do not watch some of our past shows, but yeah.
Worst commissioner in professional sports. But he came up with a rather intriguing idea, which I'm going to let you work into, Fletch, that it's intriguing. We'll just say that. Go ahead, Fletch, please.
Well, let's first start by saying, of the worst commissioners, the fact that you're worse than Gary Bettman, that takes some doing. That's not like something you just walk into. You got to put some effort into that one.
Yes, absolutely.
So the Major League owners have been meeting with representatives of the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues. That's the group that's in charge of the minor leagues. And Mr. Manfredi says that there are sweeping changes on the way. And, it's going to be looking at, how the clubs are operated, salaries, and better working conditions. But here's the biggest one. He's talking about 42 of the 160 minor league teams. That's 26% of them, fellas.
Yep.
They were guaranteed under the last contract to be there, but he's saying they're going to be eliminated. And even most of them are going to be from that 4 short season rookie league. So that's the New York Penn League, Appalachian, Northwest, and there's Pioneer, the one Pioneer. Closest to us. How did I forget that one?
Yeah.
So entire leagues are going to go away, and they're going to create this dream league is what they're going to call it. It's going to be a large independent league loosely connected with Major League Baseball. The other part of it, and this part is, I think, intriguing. the baseball draft is going to move from June to August, and it's going to be reduced to 20 rounds. Like right now, there's 60 rounds, something
40,
along those
40 rounds.
40 rounds, yeah.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
And so that, the stipulation that those drafted players will sign contracts for the following season. And I guess the whole thing is being called the Houston Plan because their organization's one that came up with it. And with what's going on in Houston right now, I don't know if I want to follow any of their plans, but that's another story. But what's going to happen, instead of having that sort of rookie short season league, they're going to have these guys report to the major league compound, I guess you would call it, and they're going to undergo a bunch of analytics tests. So they're going to be looking at bat speed, launch angles, pitcher spin rates, arm strength, grips, all that stuff.
And they're going to be looking at you never had a chance to play in the majors, so get the hell out of here.
Well, that's the one good thing about it. I mean, you think about it. I mean, they're also going to be a limit of how many players any team could have. Like, I think the max will be 150. Like right now, the Yankees have over 200 and some.
Yeah, they have like 8 or 10 teams. Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be interesting now. So I have some thoughts on this. One of them, one of the teams that they say are going to go is the Bristol Pirates. And on the surface, guys, you can't argue with that. I mean, they're drawing only about 18,000 people for the season, so it seemed to be a waste of community resources to keep that field going.
Well, and here's the thing: they took away the stand. The park has no stands right now. I forget what the reason was. They ripped apart the stands, but you're trying to play minor league quality state or baseball in a facility that is worse than the Greensburg Central Catholic high school stadium.
Yeah,
I mean, I think there are too many teams. No question about that. But eliminating 42 at once is a bit much. Same with the number of rounds in the draft. I mean, way too many. But, we may lose the great stories like Mike Piazza or like who else? John Gant. He was also drafted in those really late rounds. But, guys, it's going to get ugly. And I'll tell you why. Some of these minor league team owners are going to challenge Major League Baseball's antitrust protection. And, these owners are going to get pissed because their investments really are going to be worthless.
Drop substantially. Yep.
And you talk about having these dream league. These guys aren't going to be able to afford to do it because they're going to not have the equity to buy into any of those dream league teams. On the other hand, on the good part of it, as I flip the flop, I'm doing a Vlade Divac right now. I'm flopping all over the place. It could knock back some of the demands that Major League Baseball has made on the minor league teams and the communities that host them. I read about this one. It was officials, and I think it was Elizabethtown, Tennessee, population 14,000. It was a little bit bigger than Hooterville, fellas. They faced a choice a couple of years ago. They could either renovate their police station or meet a condition of the Minnesota Twins and spend $1 million modernizing the clubhouse of their city-owned ballpark, home to their beloved minor league affiliate. So they deferred the police station renovation. Now the Elizabethtown Twins, they've got a huge locker room, got a beautiful upgraded kitchen, a training room, space to relax and study game video. And guess what team is set to be eliminated?
Yeah.
No conscience.
Let's just do that again.
Yep.
A city of 14,000 people spent $1 million on a baseball team instead of renovating its police station at the direct request of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And now MLB wants to just eliminate them.
Well,
and Freddie strikes again. Look, hey, the bottom line is that the minor leagues provide a source of community pride and pretty inexpensive family entertainment. But, I'm wondering a couple things. Is this somewhat short-sighted? Yes, you can pare them down, but 26% seems a little bit much. The other part of it is, for a lot of these guys, they're picking players that have no chance to ever make it. And they're picking them basically so they could field teams. I mean, you look at some of those rookie league teams, maybe one or two guys will actually be decent major leaguers. Maybe another one might have a cup of coffee.
Yep.
But the other part of it that I worry about, and what I think Major League Baseball is being short-sighted on, that for a lot of areas that don't have Major League Baseball, the minor leagues is what connects them to the professional baseball, and it makes them probably a fan of the Major League Baseball on some level. So by doing this, you're kind of eroding your support.
No, you mentioned about antitrust. It has now it has gone to Congress. Representative Lori Trahan, of Democrat from Massachusetts, and a Republican from West Virginia, David McKinley, have gone out to threaten Major League Baseball because West Virginia is going to lose 3 of their 4 teams.
Right.
Luckily for us, Morgantown will be moved up to another level. Lucky for us because it's a fairly close drive.
Close to Pittsburgh, yeah. Yep.
But so far, 106 members of the House have basically sent Major League Baseball a letter to help or to hopefully convince them to back off on the plan, because basically their communities are the ones that are getting screwed here. And I'm going to do a little flip flop like you do. It is a shame that these people have invested so much time. I mean, I go to 5 to 10 Altoona Curve games a year. I know what it means to that community. I couldn't imagine that team not being there and what it would do to those folks from there. So I certainly have that sympathy there. But guys, A-ball past Bradenton is really useless. It really genuinely is.
It's a little antiquated. I agree.
There's no need for this. It's 20 rounds is plenty. I think what's going to happen here is I think this Dream League thing is going to be a disaster. Major League I was reading a little about it. It's loosely connected to Major League Baseball because Major League Baseball will say it's connected, but Major League Baseball will have no financial implication in it. It's not what's going to happen. I think is you're going to see the independent leagues blow up, not through the Dream League, not through necessarily these owners, but in these towns, like the Frontier League. What's the Atlantic League?
Atlantic League, yeah. Which has been very successful because they're near big cities back here.
And it's been very successful, and quite frankly, it's probably the best brand of baseball in the minor leagues because you're getting a mixture of talented young players trying to make a trip, plus recently departed major league players. I saw a couple games in Lancaster, and I'm very entertained by it. Butch Hobson as a manager.
I loved the league for years when they had a team in Camden, went to tons of games. They play to win, too, in that league. It's not developmental, not talking out of both sides of our mouths, but guys, they're throwing a no-hitter. They stay in.
Right.
Rich Hill. I saw Rich Hill when he was in Long Island. I mean, you could see he was going to get back, So, and it was well attended.
It remains well attended. It remains well attended. And then, I mean, Washington Wild things remain very well attended. It's part of the community. But what you said is correct, Fletch. While the Washington Wild things are part of the community, it doesn't touch the Major League Baseball. And that's where Major League Baseball is going to be short-sighted. These people in the town you're talking about, they're not just buying the goods of their teams, but they're buying Minnesota Twin things. They're becoming invested in the Twins because they're following their teams up. I mean, it's a tough thing to do, and it's a tough situation to know whether to support. It's one of the few things that he's come up with that I actually support because I do think the system as it is now is kind of useless. The players are making dirt wages, and if this is going to help that process, if it's going to I think there's a 50-50 chance they lose their antitrust. I think these guys, Major League Baseball seems hell-bent on going forward with this, and I can see this being the thing that Congress finally takes it away from. They shouldn't have it.
No, they shouldn't. But, it's a really tough thing. I mean, I see points on both sides, but I think it was not handled well. I mean, one of the things you could do is something like this. You need to float your trial balloons first and find out.
That's what I was going to say.
Do a little bit of work there. I mean, think about this, guys. One of the franchises that they're looking at eliminating was the one where Jackie Robinson went.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a certain sense of history that baseball, unlike any other sport, has.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess I can't have it both ways, saying that there's too many rounds in the draft and all of that other stuff, and not have some sort of contraction of teams. But Jesus, 26% at once is just that's like dropping a big old A-bomb on it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Charleston, who's had a team since we were kids. I mean, I have a Charleston Charlie hat. It was the double or triple A team of the Pirates when the Pirates were fielding their great teams of the mid and late 70s, and that team is on that cut line.
I just see them spending a lot of time in court. I really do.
Well, and I think, let me ask one question. You guys confirm this for me. Isn't this part of the collective bargaining agreement negotiations?
It is, and this is where it will go to court. You're right, Fletch. They'll spend a lot of time there. But on the other end, I don't see where they have a leg to stand on, because contractually, once this new bargaining agreement comes up, they don't have an agreement with Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball can do what they want at that point.
Right.
Well, but you also got a players association that is extremely strong and has always been well represented. And you think about, like Fletch said, you're giving up 40 clubs. Let's say, 25, 30-man rosters? You're going to cut, what's that? I didn't do the math. I can't do it anymore. But 40 clubs times 30, that's 1,200 jobs lost?
1,200 jobs lost, but you realize some of these kids down there are not making more than $1,000 or $2,000.
I'm not suggesting that I don't agree with that, Dave, but I'm just saying that Players Association in baseball is one that has no long-term view.
But my point is,
they also don't give a rat's ass about anybody but the major leaguers.
That's what I was about to say. If they cared about them, they wouldn't have allowed this to happen.
That's right.
This got this far. That's true. That's fair.
I mean, Major League Baseball, because of their exemption, basically got these players classified as seasonal associates. What I would hire for my stores for 2 months.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what they're paying them at this point. That's how they get away with this.
I was just wondering if that was going to be an extra. I mean, there was a part of me. I don't think this is Manfred negotiating, like some corporate blowhard. But I thought to myself, well, is he negotiating here? Because if that's going to be part of the CBA. You always ask for the world, hoping you'll get half of it.
But I don't think he's asking. I don't think this is a negotiation. I think this is what they're going to do, because I don't think the Players Association gives a shit about it.
Probably not. I would be. I can't say I would dispute that at all based on what I've seen.
And
I mean, they don't take care of their own. They don't take care of their own in the major leagues.
No,
much less. Yeah.
And philosophically, probably these teams are better off as an independent team.
Yeah, some of them might be. Some of them might very well be. I agree with that.
I mean, there's still going to be these kids wanting the dream, wanting to hit the dream. And as far away a dream as it is for them, it's still impressive when you can say to yourself, "Hey, I played minor league baseball." There's not a lot of jobs there.
Yep. Yep.
But I think it's the way to go. I find myself agreeing with, as tough as it is, and all the arguments, and I do feel sympathetic towards those players and those cities that'll lose their franchises. I think it makes sense.
Yep. No other sport has this kind of.
I just think that it's just the way it's being handled is where I guess my biggest issue with it is. Is there a way that you could, do it in a couple of stages? Number one. Right. Number two, I mean, it's just it came out of nowhere. I think it was very. I'm with you, Dave. I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this. I guess is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I understand it. I understand what they're trying to do. I just am just shocked. And well, here's this was like the other thing. When people mentioned to Manfred that a lot of these people who bought the minor league teams, speculated and did that, his response was, well, they didn't pay a lot of money for those anyway, so it's only on paper.
Well, yeah.
Let it be cake. We don't care.
We don't live in New York City.
And you listen. I was reading a few quotes in here about Congress trying to come to their aid. Major League Baseball is being very arrogant towards Congress too, about the antitrust. And that's the thing that's coming off. It's coming off like the Houston Astros come off, as far as just arrogant assholes. And I'm not talking the players. I'm talking the front office.
Right. And think about how that switched. I mean, remember they were shaking in their boots when the guys were called to Congress to testify about steroids, and when they were pointing the congressman's face and all that other shit. It's like, and then they mentioned the whole antitrust thing, and all of a sudden everyone's on their best behavior. We're going to ramp up our drug. But now it's like, I don't know what it is, man.
I got to tell you, I was stunned at the response from Major League Baseball. When they were bringing it in, I mean, they brought in their little heavyweight Bernie Sanders to take up the minor league things, and I understand. I mean, it's 3 out of 4 West Virginia teams. That's a lot of tax money coming out of the coffers there. So and 3 barren stadiums, unless, I mean, I do think independent baseball will blow up, but I also don't know if it'll succeed.
I don't think it will.
That's a big.
It depends on where it is. Yeah, where it is. Yeah.
I mean,
guys, you've already lost the African American culture in baseball. You really have.
Yeah.
So this is just another whacking of that.
Yeah. No, it's a tough thing to look back, and I mean, there's also going to be a restructuring. Of who's a AAA team, who's a AA team, who's an A-ball team. So you don't know what you're getting there. You don't know.
No.
I'm hoping as part of that. I really am hoping as part of that all your minor league teams are going to be within a short driving distance.
Well, I think that's the goal. That's what I read.
That's what it,
goal
and
is.
that's what it should be.
Yeah.
And that would be a positive part of it.
That's logical.
I mean, you talk about a Tennessee team from Minnesota. You talk about the
even Indianapolis. It's a drive.
Exactly. I mean, the Charleston team is Seattle. If one of the West Virginia teams are Seattle,
that makes sense. Yeah.
So it doesn't. I mean, ideally, I mean, I don't know that they draw well enough. I don't know, but Erie is a big enough town to handle a AAA team. I mean, that would be a benefit for the Pirates. I mean, Pennsylvania looks like it's only going to lose one of them. Williamsport is on the cutting edge, but historic town, yes, but looking at what they draw,
very small too. Very small. Yeah.
So I
mean, I think I agree with Chris again here. Not ironically, but again, because I don't think you had to do it this sweeping. I think if you said to somebody, "Look, you're getting 3 years. You can't have a stadium with no stands. Okay, you got to have running water. Okay, fix it." Because
you got to pay a living wage. Come on,
we're icing you. If you don't fix this, we're icing you. That's
what baseball's claiming this is about. Apparently, part of the agreement is they're going to. I don't know what they're going to raise it to, but this is what the argument is. This is what their thing is, that they're going to raise the wages for the players.
Yeah.
If that happens, that's a big.
They probably can. But my point is, I think if you said, look, in the development vein, if somebody's going to play minor league baseball for you, they can't be playing a high school stadium. Fix this.
Right.
Made an investment.
The Bristol thing is a prime example of, in the first place, why the hell would you pull the stands out?
No sense.
The season, they must have been in horrid shape.
Right. And if I was Major League Baseball, I'd say, you're going to get a certain period of time. Turn this around, we're icing you.
Yeah.
That would have made sense to me a little more in the vein of what Chris was saying than what they're doing here.
Right.
And that's a massive amount of work in a couple of years, too.
Yeah.
The designations, all the unwinding of that. And don't think that one of these attorneys from Murfreesboro, Alabama is going to say, I'm suing the shit out of you because you drove my investment to nothing.
Well, right. and that will happen. But as far as the reduction being a little each time, I'm not sure that that's the right idea, too. If you're a fan and you're losing your team in 2 years and it's a minor league team.
No, that's a quality point.
It could be. I don't know the answer either, but I also think that when you start talking about, if you're trying not to get negative attention, you're going to cut 25% of your system.
Yeah.
You're not going to get positive attention for that.
Well,
Let's face
and Major League Baseball does seem to understand that with this FU attitude they have about it.
Well, that's right. It's a clueless. We've seen how clueless it is from every regard. So it's really not out of character, is it?
No.
No, it's like what they did this. They said every city that has a minor league team, take one step forward, not so fast, you, and you. You know?
That's right. That's right.
It's just
That's right.
there's a way to handle these things, and it just wasn't done well, and it's going to cost them. Now, what they may have to do is they may have to negotiate some sort of reparations, I guess you would call it, for some of those folks who invested. You're going to have to do that. You're going to have to buy them out.
But in 2.5 years, that's a major job, man. It better be
Not 2.5 years, a year and a half, 2021 this is for.
Think about how major a job that is.
Yeah, this is cut. These guys get 1 year to play.
I mean, this may have been planned a while back, and it may already be working on it, but that's still a major job.
Yeah.
There's going to be some sports attorneys that are going to be making a fortune.
A fortune, yep.
There's going to be Bill Flowers out the ass for this.
I've just got accepted to the Duquesne Law School for a 2-year program in sports sewery. I can get in on it. Yeah. But one thing they're not going to cut is the heavyweight. I am on these segways.
God, you were a Captain Segway.
You're really
Captain
this down,
Segway.
Man.
I like that. Don't call me Ding Dong now. Captain Segway. So, Gary, we got the heavyweight championship of the world coming up. And while you're discussing it, I'm going to go and I'm going to play title bout. The combatants are, please tell our audience.
Luis Ortiz from Cuba and Deontay, I can't remember what his nickname is. The nicknames aren't as big, but Deontay Wilder from the U.S. From
You're here in the Trunzo beginning.
What's that?
This is the beginning from the Trunzo game.
All right. Luis Ortiz's nickname is.
All right. We're going to go. Let's see if he made an Ortiz card. I don't know that he did.
I thought he did, actually. When I got the cards, Dave, I thought he did. 19.
There, Luis Ortiz. It's here.
Yeah,
okay.
He's in there.
Okay. Wilder. Okay. You talk, Gary. I'm going to play here.
I'll be quick because I noticed something on the clock here. I mean, if you like boxing, anybody watching us or listening, go back to March of 2018. Wilder and Ortiz fought the first time at Barclays Center. It was expected that Wilder was probably going to win easily. I'm not really sure why, because Ortiz is a decorated amateur out of the Cuban program, and he's an unusual Cuban. He can hit. He's not a pure boxer.
He's not unusual for his dinner habits.
He's not unusual for that either. That's right.
All right.
He's certainly, again, not a body beautiful. Now, he's not Ruiz, but he's not a body beautiful. But he's a good fighter. He's technical and he can hit. And the first fight was a sensational fight. And, in fact, I think Wilder showed a lot more than people thought he had.
He's staggered! He's staggered!
Who is?
Oh, we've reached a decision. Robert Hoyle scores the bout 54-50. Steve Epstein scores at 53-49. And Arno Pokrant scores about 54-49 for the winner by unanimous decision. And you heard it here first. Deontay, the Ding Dong. Let's call him the Ding Dong. He gets that. Deontay the Ding Dong Wilder has won a unanimous decision according to Title Bout 2. You've heard it here first.
That's a 6-rounder with those numbers, right? That's a 6.
No, it's a 12-round on the 5-point system.
Oh, 5-point system.
Oh, 5-point system.
Yeah, I went 12.
We went back to the old school scoring.
Oh.
Here's my thought, and I'm going to make it a prediction too because I want to give you guys your share of the time. I actually think this time it won't be as exciting of a fight because both guys hurt each other the last time. Both guys were on the floor. Unusual anymore. I think this time they're both going to box a little more conservative. I think Wilder's a little more athletic, quite a bit younger. I honestly think
there was the final bell.
What's that?
There was the final bell. I don't know if you heard that.
I heard that, yeah.
Okay.
I like Wilder this time. I could see it being a decision this time. Kind of wide as the fight rolls on, or I could see, again, a late stoppage, but not as dramatic as the first time. But, boy, this has what boxing once was as good as what it offers. Going to be a lot of tension because, quite frankly, the first fight was sensational. Go back and watch the fight in March.
It was a unanimous decision. We already know what happened.
Yeah, well, that's right. Man, we know that's the Bible. Wilder's longer and he can box. I wouldn't be surprised if he does get a unanimous decision this time, because I don't think they're going to take the risk they did the last time. Remember, Wilder is set up to fight Fury February 28th. So I think that's always in your head too. But I could see Wilder go after him, but I also think this time Ortiz is going to be a little bit better prepared for that. But I don't think the fight's not going to have drama in it. But it won't be like the first one either. Wilder by decision.
That's what the dear Drunzo said. He told us what was going to happen.
I know. And
if you can't believe a computer, what are you going to believe?
And especially developed by him. So.
All right. Chris, get your hat on.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to get one of these.
Just put a hat on. Put a hat on, Garrett. It doesn't have to be a fedora.
In this basement, I can't find anything anymore because it's so insane. But
because it's Patty's fault. It's all your fault, Patty.
I've got two quick predictions. One is that it's going to get really ugly in Houston with this whole sign stealing thing, and it's going to affect people's jobs. I think that it's going to go to Boston, and someone's going to get hit there. That's my one prediction.
Do you think they'll call in the NCAA so they can take away their wins?
Oh, I heard someone say they were going to skip the World Series. Unbelievable. Yeah. My second one, and this is one that I just came up with on the way home today. I'm sure you guys saw that Mike Babcock was fired by the.
I was stunned at that.
Was it today?
It was today. Yeah, and I think
I'm not totally stunned, actually.
The fact that a very undermanned Penguins team beat the shit out of them probably was the final straw for that. But here's my prediction. He's not going to come back to coaching for a while, but you know what he's going to do? He is going to be the replacement for Don Cherry. That's my prediction.
Oh.
Could be.
Oh.
Could be. He's an Ontario guy, too. Could be.
That's That's actually a good prediction there.
I think, in fairness to Babcock, I think that front office has really not fixed problems in that team for 4 years. So, in defense of Babcock, I don't think all of that is his doing. He's the sacrificial lamb.
Well, I think he's a great coach, and I think he's going to basically make somebody a good coach fairly soon. So, I'm a Babcock fan. I think that was a dumb move by Toronto, and that's why you haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967.
Yeah, but Babcock hasn't won a playoff series in a while either. So
yeah,
they'll never beat Tampa. They'll never beat Boston. They'll never beat Washington or the Islanders the way they're constructed. Everybody knew it, except it seemed that front office.
Well, it's a good team. Hopefully they. I always have a special place in the heart there for Toronto. Is my favorite Orange Six. Hope they can pull off strong things. What do you think's going to happen in Houston? Anything other than a fining? If they just fine him, it's a stupid, senseless investigation.
Yep.
People have to lose their jobs.
Yep.
To make the symbolism of, and I saw, and I won't go into it too quick because we got Grey Cup to talk about. But the symbolism of taking away their World Series, I saw stats on their home and away.
Oh, the splits are crazy.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
It's going to be hard to defend. Yeah.
Altuve gets 200 points better at home in that playoffs.
Yeah,
I thought so in that 17, and I'm not even that big of a Dodger supporter anymore. But that series, it thinking back, remember how amazing they were at home in that series?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
If it's just going to be a finding, then it's a useless venture, and Houston is one. Houston is one if that's all it is.
Yep.
But anyways, we got the Grey Cup this Sunday at 6. I'll be working. So I'll be telling people to just shut the hell up. Everybody I know is going to be watching the Grey Cup, so I'll have to tell them to just shut up.
One of us can funnel you updates if you want.
No. I want to get my pizza and my Tim Hortons coffee and donuts and sit down and watch it as if I don't know.
Yeah.
The basically two names have dominated in the CFL, and it continues. Tiger Cats and Blue Bombers. It's not just a bomber, okay? It's a Blue Bomber. Okay?
Great uni.
Yeah, it's great uni.
Yeah.
Tiger Cats, in all seriousness, the Ticats are by far the best team I've seen in the league this year. They have a very well-rounded, good defense, nice passing offense, which was on display in the Eastern Final. I watched the CFL semis this weekend. So I'm going to go the Ticats 24-18 to win their first title since 1999. And in a 9-team league or an 8-team league or whatever the hell it is, that long without a title is a pretty long time. So, so I see the Ticats bringing it up. Love the Brown Unis. And next week we're going to talk about who Slippery Rock's playing as they get a first-round bye, and that's kind of exciting to see them with a real shot at a national championship. It might be the best PSAC team, at least the best Western PSAC team since the Frank Sidnetti squads of the 1990s.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing too because the Duke season wildly disappointing.
It is, but
wildly. They had some injuries and stuff, but to me, it was a big disappointment.
Well, yeah,
they win every year, but
if you play in Pittsburgh this year, apparently you're going to get injured. It's across all franchises.
Totally correct.
Absolutely. I mean, Parr. If you want to know how important Parr was to that team, Brumbaugh, who has the great lineage, his father, or I don't know who the hell it was. Maybe it was an uncle. It was a relative.
Was he the Bears quarterback in the 30s?
No, he was a quarterback. Yeah, he played in the NFL, but he was a quarterback that led Duquesne to the Orange Bowl championship. Floyd Brumbaugh.
Okay.
Through the pass to Ernie Hefferly that in the last waning moments that won the game. So he does have some good lineage, but not the quarterback is relative.
Nope.
But anyways, we're here. We'll see who wins the CFL title, and next week we're going to talk some boxing.
Sounds good. I think we got 2 after this. Yep.
All right.